Hello, Brian. My name is Rian, your tech maestro at Azure DevOps Pulse. In our last sessions, we have discussed about Terraform fundamental blocks such as Terraform block, provider block, and resource block. And in today's video, we are gonna be learning about Terraform multiple providers. So when we say Terraform multiple providers, it simply means that we can define multiple configuration for the same provider and select which one to use on a per resource or per module basis. And the primary reason for this is to support multiple regions for a cloud platform. So as you can see here in a diagram, right? Here as you can see here. So let's say, let me give an example. I want to create two resource groups. Let's say resource group 1 and resource group 2. Okay. Now, at the same time, let's say I want to create one resource group has to be created, let's say in East US, and another resource group has to be created in West US. So, meaning at the same time, you are gonna create two different resource groups at the same time, but the location of the resource group would be different. Let's say in our case, the resource group 1 should be in our case, it is a East US, and resource group 2 that should be created in West US. So, how are you going to handle in this kind of situation, right? So, this is when the multi-provider, that is your meta argument, Terraform meta argument, can help you here, right? So, what you can simply do is that you along with the under provider, if you just see here under provider, okay, blocks, you just set the alias then alias name. Yeah, in our case this is the default, that means this is the default. Terraform has their own way of handling the resources when they deal with resources, right? So this is the default behavior, meaning whenever you create any resources, whatever you this thing based on what you define in your configuration file, that is your Terraform configuration, based on that it will be created in that particular region. And but in some use cases or some for some reason, if you don't want the particular resource to be created in particular locations, let's say you want to create in specific locations, in these situations is when you require to use multiple providers. In our case, uh, for the resource group 2, I want to create in West US. That is why what I did was under provider blocks in your Terraform, what you do is you set the alias, same, it should be same name, okay? Alias name, name of the alias. So provider 2, it has to go this thing. So once you set this one in a provider block, what you do is next, you can simply, sorry, what you can do is we can use the alternate provider in a resource data or module by referencing it as provider name dot alias. In the sense, once you define in your what you call the config in your providers with your alias name, alias then alias name, if you define, you can call by the provider name. In our case, if you see here, this is the resource group, right? This is a, let's say the first resource group. I want to create, excuse me, I want to create the for resource group 1, that's my RG1 in East to S, because that is the default one, right? And the another resource group provider 2 that has to created under or in West US. That is the second argument which I want to say, right? So in this RG2, my RG2, let's say. So if I want to create this thing, if I have to change this one, what you can do is in your resource block itself, what you do, you mentioned that this is a provider name, right? This is provider name in our case, this is a provider I mentioned. Then provider name, let's say this is your provider name, right? Azure RM is a provider name. Provider you mentioned here, you specifying the provider basically, and then provider name dot, if you see dot alias name, if you see provider 2 West US, this alias name you got it from the provide what you call here. Okay, you got it from here, alias. What you would mention the alias name in your provider block that into refer it in your resource block. Okay, resource block is nothing but here in your resource group blocks where you need to define provider and then provider name, that is your provider name is nothing but is your Azure RM, in the sense Azure resource manager. Okay, and dot then alias name. This alias name was mentioned in your, or you have to specify, I mean you have to specify this alias name in your provided block. Okay, I hope this is clear. And we also have to understand about the terraform dependency log file. But this was discussed many times. I will not explain much, but I will just give a small brief. Okay, so as we all know, when I say dependency log file, right? And in Terraform, we have the something known as the providers, as we have learned. And in the new features, right? Like say, if you have Terraform, that is your version 0.14 and later, you will get something on provider with the modules, everything. And the Terraform configuration refers to to two different kinds of external dependency that come from out of its own code base. So version constraints within the configuration itself determines which version of a dependency are potentially compatible. Okay, and I will show you this everything what I means. Okay, and then second one is that the dependency log file. After selecting a specific version of each dependency using version constraints, Terraform remembers the decisions. Remember the decisions it made in dependency log file, so it can be by default make the same decision again in future. Okay, and the location of the log file is basically in the current working directory. The very important we need to remember is that the log file currently tracks only provider dependency. Okay, and for module continue to use adjust version constraints to ensure that Terraform will always select the same module version. So what it means in the log file when we do hands-on, I will explain once again. For now, um, we will go with the next, and I'll explain later. Okay. And if you see the checksum verification as well, Terraform will also verify the each package it installed matches at least one of the checksums it previously recorded in the log file. If any returning an error, if none of the sections mesh. Okay, so this all about the dependency. What I'll do is I will show you hands-on. As we do hands-on, I will give you a demo so that I will explain you once again this one. Okay, this is how it looks. Okay, let me show you. If you see here, this and all, if you see here, this basically, sorry, this is in basic hash table. Okay, this is a hash algorithm they use for your dependency log file. So if you just see here, this is a version this is a version. Version is nothing but this is your the provider version. Okay, this is a constraints. Constraints nothing but basically when you mention in your your providers, you have to mention. Okay, let's say in our case it is a greater than is equal to, greater than is equal to in the sense anything greater than 2.0.2, sorry, 2.0.0. Okay, if anything greater than that means it should take it. That means if it is let's say now 3.0 or anything, that will take it the latest one. Okay, and this all has table. This will help you to, let's say if you have any kind of issue where you want to check that logs everything, this can also help you. I will explain anyway once we do hands-on. Okay, so I will not explain, I mean go much in, for now. Sorry, the important of dependency log file, right? If Terraform did not find a log file, meaning this log file, I mean, okay, this log file, okay, this log file, if Terraform did not find a log file, it would download the latest version of the providers it that fulfill the version constraints you define require providers block inside your Terraform settings blocks. And if we have a log file, the log file causes Terraform to always install the same provider version, ensuring that runs across your team and the remote sessions will be consistent. So anyway, I will explain that as we do once we do hands-on. What I'll do, let me basically what I'll do is I will give you a small demo so that what I can do is I can give you a small. I think I let me show first when I say the let me go with the first one so that we can just complete it one by one. Okay, team, what I'll do is let's understand what first. Let's say in our case, what we discussed was this one, right? Multiple providers. Let's say I have two different resource groups where I want to the one resource group to be created in East US, another resource group in West US. How I can basically leverage with the help of multiple providers. That is your meta argument in your Terraform, right? Let's see how we can use it in Terraform. I have already opened this one, and this is the file. So you can nothing much here. Resource group. If you see here, team, what I did was see here. This is the resource group, and this is the resource level, basically level, right? And this is the reference name. And name of the resource group is this one. It is to s. Okay, if you see for the first one is to s, and second one is resource group 2 rg2. This will be resource group name will be Azure DevOps Pulse. RG I can mention in my case. I'm then what I'll do. Otherwise, I'll keep it as default only. What I'll say. Let's say I will change it better. I think so that it'll be easy. My RG2. Let's say. Okay. I think I did. Okay. My RG2. Hmm, let me change this one. My RG to so let's say 2. So what I'll do, I'll keep it as it is, or otherwise I'll give it instead of 1, I'll give it 10. I'll say RG10, RG20, let's say, for our better understanding. So if you can see your team, what I did was, if you see versioning here, let me go back. If you see here under your provider sessions, right here, if two providers I have, one is for using with the ls name. Okay, same thing I have defined here. If you see here, this is the default provider, this is your default one, and this is the second provider, that is West US. In this case, this is also another feature block in your Terraform. Okay, provider in your provider, there is another feature block. And the feature block, this is for virtual machines. This is also another meta argument types. Okay, in our case, this is a delete OS. This on deletions false. So anyway, you don't have to think much for now, but if you want, you can maybe try this also, but you can ignore it otherwise. So what exactly it will do is that when I give this meta, basically the this feature block for virtual machines, it says that delete OS on deletions. Sorry, delete OS this on deletion is equal to false, right? So what it'll do is I also given a definition. This will ensure the virtual machine is destroyed. Disk is not deleted. Default is true. We can alter it with at a provider level. So in our provider levels we have done, meaning let's say whenever you create any kind of virtual machines or not just virtual machine, anything, right? Let's say in our case virtual machines, okay? By default, whenever you destroy any servers, the default behavior of Terraform is that they at the time of deletion or destroying your what you call your virtual machines, at the same time the data disk what is been attached to the server or data virtual machines will be destroyed, meaning the data disk which is connected to your virtual machines will be destroyed or deleted. Okay, so but in some situations where for let's say you have some critical data where you want to delete the servers and you want to keep the data for sometimes let's say 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever, depends on the project requirement, right? So in these situations, let's say your project manager or somebody, let's say in your team, or somebody say that I want the server to be destroyed or deleted. However, I don't want that data disk to be deleted for now. Keep it for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. So in this situation, how are going to deal it, right? So this is when this method argument can help you. That is your this thing, what you call that, delete OS disk on deletion is equal to, you have to give false. By default, it is true. Okay. But if you don't mention this anything, then in this case, let's say instead of true, if I say let's say true, this doesn't make sense anything. Let's say if I say true, let's say if I give like this doesn't make any sense because by default, Terraform will destroy anyway. Okay. This is the default behavior. Only when you want to change the behavior of your Terraform, then only you can use the meta argument. Okay. So in our case, meta argument that is for your virtual machine OS disk on deletions. Okay, if that is false. False means what it will do now. If you give this one now, at the time of deletion of your server or VM, they will destroy the server, but they will keep the data disk available in your cloud. In our case, Azure. Okay. Let's we are talking about this one alias, right? So I have defined under same thing we see under provider sessions in a block. Alias name is I mentioned the name of the alias. So this one I will refer now. So what I'll do now, if you see here, same I mentioned here provider. I call by the provider and in our case name of the provider that is your Azure RM or Azure Resource Manager. Okay. Dot their alias name because I have given same name is a provider to West US. If you remember here I have defined here. Okay, so now what will happen now if I give this one? Okay, if I give now, what will happen now, one resource group will be created in the West US, another resource group will be created in West US. That means the resource group 2, sorry, 10 will be created in East US, and the resource group, sorry, my RG20 will be created in West US. So let's see how it works. So we will try to run the script. Before that, I think I opened this also same thing. Basically, I just wanted to show Terraform. I will delete everything so that I can explain later with, you know, let's see. All right, team. So if you can see, this is same as what you see, but I wanted to show you hands-on. I mean, not hands-on, basically the logs file, everything. If you see, it is a module 7 under multi-provider configuration and under manifest folder. Okay, if same thing, if you see here as a theme, you can see here multiple provider configuration and under manifest folder. So if you see here also, you can check here. If you say ls, I'm under, if you see here, I'm under here under multi-provider configuration and Terraform manifest. Okay, I'm there. As you can see here, I have two different configuration file. That is a Terraform file. One is just version.tf, another one is resource group.tf. Okay, resource group.tf. So what we can do is that now, what we can do now, as you can see here, I have nothing now. So I will give a small, workflow about Terraform as well, so that it will help you. We have discussed already in our last sessions, but I think it is important for everyone of us to understand. So yeah, so let me show you. Right now, I don't have anything. Right? Okay, let me just refresh. I have nothing here. As soon as I click for the first time, team, whenever you run Terraform, for the first time, you need to always run Terraform init. Okay. So what we'll do now, sorry, my bad, I think spelling, oh shit, my bad, it is there per minute, right? Okay, so, all right, so let's see. As you can see here, as soon as I click the Terraform init, what happens, right? Initializing the backend. So it will initialize backend and then also initialize the provided plugin. It also will do the provided plugins and they will try to find some version constraints, everything. Let's say in our case, uh, if you remember, let me show you once, maybe here. see. Okay, I will just give you small, basically intro about this one. Okay. So this is basically like I have mentioned already, provider like Terraform provider, and this is a required version. The required version basically, this thing. And if you see here, providers. Okay, this is, as we all know, the provider is our Azure Resource Manager, or we can call it as Azure RM. Okay, and this is a source. So you don't have to think much, but just to keep in mind, we have to know this one only. This is very much important team. Okay, this is important. So in our case, the provider version, if you see, greater than, right? Greater than is equal to, that is 2.0. That means this is a provider. Okay, and also when I say required version, if I see here, let me show you once. We have already discussed in last sessions also, but I just wanted to show you so that we can get to know many things here. So what I'll do is Terraform version. Okay, now if you see, this is a Terraform CLI. Okay, right now it is this thing if you see, but this is anything that is greater than this will take it. That means latest one, anything greater than this number. Okay, and this is a CLI, and this means this is your provider version. So how can I verify that one? Well, let me go. I'll just try to show you Terraform provider. So, okay. So as soon as I click the Terraform providers, what I'm going to see is that in our case, as we all know, in our case, Terraform Azure RM is our provider, right? So if you just notice here, right now, it is the version. This is the provider version, basically. Okay, the Terraform provider version for your Azure RM. Okay, because provider is our Azure RM. So if you see the version, the current till now, it keeps changing, but keep updating. If you just notice, see 12 days before it was, 3.88.0 version, and before that it is a 3.87.0. Okay, so it always keeps on updating. Okay, they will publish new version. So we should be like whenever we do any kind of things, no, we should be clear here. Okay, this is why the provider is very important. So if you see here, so in our case, the current, basically the latest till now is 3.89. Okay, so let's see. So if you remember, team, in our here, right? If you see, I mentioned here provider is the anything that is greater than 2 point. That means anything greater mean they will always take it the latest one because you given the greater than. So that is when we have to understand. That's how we have to understand. So let's see. But in production and all, you don't have to use this. That is very risks also. We should not use tail symbol. We can use it instead of this one. Okay. So anyway, I will show you what we can do. Sorry, as we all know, this is the version till now. So let me show you. So what will happen in the backend when I run the Terraform init, right? For the first time, they will initialize the backend. Backend is nothing but this has some data. Let's say in our case, this thing. Two things will be create uh, created in the backend. The first is your Terraform dot sorry dot Terraform. Basically, this is basically the provided plugins. We can call it. Okay, provider plugins. Let's say you have a providers, right? And the providers you will get a this is the registry, then this is HashiCorp, then we will get Azure. This is Azure RM. So this is the if you just see here, this is the version, right? 3.89.0. If you just see here 3.80.0. This is the latest one. That means because how we got this number is because we have defined here anything greater than this one, right? So they will take the latest one. But in your production, you will not use that way. You have to change the sender. Okay. Okay. That what we can do is next. Okay. So we have understood now. So it will what it will do when I say think go back one second. Okay, so what it so like I mentioned, whenever you run the Terraform init for the first time, this will be downloaded. That is your plugin, right? Per product plugins with the providers will be downloaded. Okay, along with this one, you will also have the .terraform .log.html. Okay, this logs file. This logs file is the one which I was discussing about the dependency log. So, okay, so let's see the dependency log which I was explaining before. Sorry. If you see here, right, the basically the constraints, the version constraints. Just see here. What you can do, you can open in Notepad, or in our case, let me just open in this thing only. Okay, see here. This is the basically, if you just notice here, this file is maintained automatically by Terraform engineer. So whenever you run Terraform for the first time, this will be maintained by them basically, or managed by them. You can call it. Okay, that is your Terraform init. And manual edit may be lost in future updates. Okay, we should not do that. And if you see the provider, as I have already mentioned, this is the provider, right? As you got that is URL. And if you see the name of this is the provider version. Okay, provider version means like I mentioned, the provider version what you have defined in your this thing, what you call there here, right? Here you have defined the under providers, you have the provider version, right? Yeah, as you are in this one, right? Same thing you can see here. Just let me show you. Yeah, this one. Okay, same thing you can also see here also, but this keeps changing. You have to be sure. That is why the dependency logs is so much important. Okay, you can keep changing the dependency log every time. You should be very careful when you work with Terraform. Okay, so I think this is clear, team, now. So let me tell one more. Let me show you one more thing here. Okay, so till now you're clear, right, team? So what we'll do. So now this is clear now. Same under this thing, under log, what will also it will contain. So okay, now constraints, right? So constraints is something. This is basically the latest, meaning at the time of your initialization of your Terraform, at the time of Terraform initializations, this was the versions. Meaning, let's say in our case for now, the latest version till now, mean till today, it is 3.89.0. Okay, and but if I see here constraints, what was mentioned, anything that is greater than 2.0, right? Because this was also mentioned in your Terraform. If you just see here, right, this one. So if you remember in our last sessions, I think let me show you block version. Huh. Okay, in our last session, what we discussed, we should not use basically this greater symbol first thing. Let's say if you're working in your productions or any in actually organizations, this is not how a company will be used. But it is means maybe for staging or for testing, yes, you can use this version, right? Anything that is greater than some version, anything that you want. What you can use is that you can because if you let's say today in this particular version have some kind of dependency or some kind of some features will be updated, let's say after 10 days or 20 days or 1 month, that you're going to update the review to the latest, mean there should be some conflicts or there could be some the infrastructure can crash anytime. Okay, so that should be you should be careful enough to sure like whatever changes has done till now, after 10 days or 20 days or 1 month, the feature of the terraform based on the version, right, it may get upgraded, right? That is why it is very much important for us to understand. So what you can do instead, you can have like this also, meaning what you'll do is greater than mention this number or anything this number, that meaning uh the if you see here mm, main version, right, that is your software version. I think let me check if I can show you that. Not this one. Okay. So in simple term, what we have to understand here is that if I use this way, see here, if I use anything, let's say in our case, this number, right? If you see here, let's say, give me a first example. I mentioned as the is equal to 2.0. What it means basically, it means this basically on the right, for the left side, first one, basically, this is the your measure version, and this is the minor version, and this is the first version. So if I mention this and just first two digit, that means only the minor version. But if you let me show you in Terraform, see how it is been sent. If you do 38, 39, the zero not directly, it will be minor version will get updated. If you see three digit, right? Dot 3 dot 89 dot 0, right? It's a three digit. Same thing if you see here, this is the first one is the major version, second one is the minor version, and the third one is the best. So in our case, that is why what I did was, if you see Terraform also, it always use the number. The minor version get updates always. Okay. So this is why what you do instead of three digit, what you do, it consider as two. You can have a something like that. Oh, sorry, where is that? Mm, yes, like this you can have it. Let's say two. That means major version, and this is a minor version. Two is your two. I mean these two, right? Huh? These two means your major, and zero means a minor version. Okay, you get help. But when what you can do is in your suppose if you work in a company, again depends on the project to project. It varies. But what you can do is, if you want, you can do something like this. Anything greater than this number, the version, or the or max, it should be this number. Okay, this minor version up to 60. So you can have like that. Let's say, but if you're going for the production, what you can do is you can also specify for production version. What you can do, this is called as a pessimistic constraints. Okay, what you can do is you can have this kind of symbols. This is called as a pessimistic symbol greater than then the version in the sense don't give a 3, what I give, or if you mention otherwise what we can understand, let me show you once. Okay, so I can copy maybe from here, constants. This is not required for you, but it's good to understand. Operator, okay, we call it as that one. Okay, um how we can have the example, huh? As you can see here, this is one of the example. Let me check. See here, you can see here, right? Allows, okay, yeah, allows only the rightmost version components in increment, right? This format is referred to as the pessimistic constraints operator. For example, to allow new patch release within a specific minor release, right? Minor release, you have to use the full version number. You have to give full in a case. Example, if it is like this, what you can do is allows Terraform to install. Let's say if you have this means if you are in this thing, but not like this, because what you see here, this is the major version, this is the minor version, and this is the base version, right? Release. So what you can do is you can have this kind of, let's say one and one here. You can have here zero. This is a minor version, and this is here. This is minor, and this is a base version. Okay. So you can have this one instead of having here. Okay, so that what happened basically in simple term, what will if you do, what happened if you see here, where is that? See, it keeps on changing the minor version. Okay, so that is why what you can do is that You when you define this thing, you can use the specific mistake if you are sure. Otherwise, if you are new to Terraform, you can use this also, not an issue. But you have to try or doing some hands-on practice and all on this and see how it works in the backend. Okay, so in our case, I have given anything that is greater than this number, right? So that is why the latest the provider got installed. So okay, let's not spend much time here. Let's go with the next step. So as you can see now, we have done, and I have explained about the Terraform dependency log file also. This is all the HASM algorithm they used, where let's say um, if there is any issue, this can help you. Let's say today you have run this Terraform init commands, and this version was used. Let's say after 20 days or 1 month, this version will be changed. But this will help you to troubleshoot and also to check also if which version was used when Terraform initially was happen. Okay. Uh, okay, fine. So we what we will do, this is clear now. So in simple this thing, let me give it. Let me show you once. Okay. So in simple way, what we can say is that whenever Terraform init is happening, like in the backend, .terraform, which is your provider plugins, will be downloaded in your systems or local system or wherever, and then Terraform log files. Okay, this is your terraform.log.html. That file will be created. This file, basically the Terraform log file or dependency log file, will contain your provider information such as constraints, idea, what is the constraints version was used on, what is the provider version was used at the time of Terraform initializations. Okay, so hope this is clear, team. So now let's go with the next one. So we can also do Terraform. Second step is the Terraform validate. Validate. If you want, you can use this command, but it depends again. If you don't want, you can ignore this also. This is not this thing means this is not actually compulsory. It is depends on if you want, you can check it. This will help you to validate and also consistency. Let's say if there is any issue in your code, then you get an issue. If you don't have any issue, then you don't have to think much. Let's say in your code some issue is happening. Let me give some let's say in Terraform, let's say okay, now let me give you a small, I'll just do some mistake here. Let's say something I give h I given here, not his, I know a little bit, let me hash. Okay, let me now do save this one. If I try to do validate, okay, sorry, this is not the very start. This version already got down. What I do, I will do some changes in here code basically, my syntax basically. What I'll do, mm, let's say something I given. Let me save this one. Okay, now let me try. See here. As soon as I click, if you just notice here, so what it'll at the time of validation, Terraform validation, what it'll do, they will check the configuration of your Terraform, whatever you have in your code, basically Terraform configurations, and try to see whether they are consistent and also they are synthetically correct or validates. Okay. So in our case, if you see here, they will mention with the line number also. Okay. See, this is what it says now. Terraform validate when I run. Argument error is argument or block definition record. Resource group line number is equal. Okay. My RG. So if I see here we have those something we did know. If you see under resource group, this is here the resource group.tf, right? Same thing it was saying here resource group.tf line number 2 means this is the line number 2. Okay, having some issue like that. This will validate everything. So in our case, let me remove now and try to save. Okay, let me try to save it now. I think no. Okay, now they have run. Before that, team, I forgot to show you one more thing. What you can do is, for the first time, if you are using this console, what you can do is you have to use Azure login. Azure login, what it will do is, if you use Azure login, they will ask you to log in basically with your credential. So in our case, I have already logged in with my ID and password, so it is okay. Basically, if you want to work with Terraform, right, you can use or service principal or anything. But in our case, I use it using CLI. Okay. So let's say, okay, I don't know how to log in because I have already done, right? So what I'll do, once you log in, once you type user and password, what you do, you directly simply what you do, uh, as a account show. As a account will show you if you, let's say, in our case, this will show only what is been configured as a current subscription. In our case, this particular subscription, that is my what do you call that here, right? Production. Yeah, this name basically is configured, right? I mean, for while I have logged in with this one only, I can show you once. CPU, I have a subscription. Right, if you have production, right? If you see the production, what is ID number? C2 at the last, and depth test is that is your C1. Okay, I will check with the C2. Let me show you C2. See, this is a C2, right? You have to check the ID. See if it's the ID, right? This is the ID. You have to check this one. So this is the production. And if you see is default, mean yes, true. But this is the showing only the current what is been configured. Okay, let's say if I want to see multiple, whether let's say in your same ID, if you have multiple subscription, how can you check that one? So instead of show, you can just use the ls. So ls will help you to list everything that is available with the same your listing, right? So in our case, if you see here, same thing I can see this is one thing. Depth test. If you see here depth test, here depth test, right? The ID is C1. You can see the ID in last number C1. Okay, so and also if you want to see this is a one, but is saying is default, whether it is default or not, it is not a default one, so it is false, that means it is not default. So what is the default now? Default is this one is default. Where is the Azure? Yeah, here, right? This is default one. Production is a default one. See if it's true. So what let's say now if so in our case this is the default now. If I want to make this as default, what you can do is um let's say if I had multiple subscription. What I'll do is now I will change this one. How can I change that one? I will take the ID basically. This is a if you see now this what you call depth test basically is not a default one. This is actually a false. That means this is not a default one. Let me make as default using this ID. Take this ID. This is basically your subscription ID. Okay, I'll just copy properly once again. Let me copy. Yes, I have copied. You can check it if you want. Here also this is a ID. Same thing. Okay. I can copy from here as well as from here, depends on you. Okay, what do you do as a account chat? Okay, then there's subscription you mentioned subscription. Okay, so as a account chat, then subscription, double dash subscription, then copy paste the subscription ID, then enter. See, as soon as you enter team now, now this the basic the dev test will be the default one. How can I check that one? Again, same thing the previous command. Yeah, so let me show you once. See now I'm seeing only when I run this, so I can see the true is default true. Which one is a depth test is true. Okay, that means whenever I create any resources, the resource will be created with this name only, I mean under this subscription. Okay, now let me create a subscription now. Okay, so now we will create a subscription, I mean sorry, not subscription, resources. Now what we will do, we will try to do terraform plan. This also Terraform validate Terraform plan. Basically, it is also optional. But Terraform initialize, that is your Terraform init is compulsory that you have to do it. Okay. So when I run Terraform, uh, up basically what you call that plan, right? What exactly does this will be with the help of API, right? This will try to authenticate first. Authentication basically happens in this phase only, that is your plan phase. Okay, Terraform plan when you run, they will authenticate with your cloud, that is your Azure. Okay, using the Azure API. I mean, using API through API, Terraform API. Okay. Then now if you see here, and also once the authentication is being successfully done, they will give you a print. That is a kind of, what kind of resource is going to be created. All the information you'll be getting basically. If you see, just see here. If you just see here, what kind of resources is going to create, you can see whatever the plus symbol is going to happen. Okay. So two resource group now. So now, so you're good now. So authentication has also happened, and then you have also validated basically the what kind of resource going to create. So in our case, these two resources going to be created. In our case, two resource groups will be created. Okay. So what I'll do, I can try with the Terraform. Sorry, because Terraform apply. Okay. Terraform apply will help you whatever configuration you have in your Terraform and whatever you define, right? Your Terraform configuration based on what you define, and they will basically provision the infrastructure. So in our case, you're asking now, so whether if you want to continue, you can give us yes, or if you want to cancel, you can say no. In only yes will be accepted. Okay. In our case, I'll give us no. Then what happened? I just wanted to show you one more thing. Okay. So the apply cancel. That means it is not successfully done. What you do? So instead of this one, now if you remember, we had to put manually. I mean, we had to enter again, kind of what you what you call that one. Yes or no, right? So we need to type, right? If I don't have to do that, how can I do? Let's say what I do now, I can just auto, sorry, approve. So whenever I use this auto approve, what it will happen is you don't stop typing yes or no. Here we type right. So in our case, we need to manually again type yes or no confirmation record, right? So if you don't want the confirmation, if you are sure with the kind of configuration, I mean the plan, whatever going to be created in your case, in this case, what you do, you can run this command. That is your terraform apply auto approve. Okay. Now let's say team. So now the resource is going to be created. Once it is being created. All right. Now the resource has been created. Now what we can do is now we can just cross verify. First we will go. It has to be under this resource group, right? It should be dev test. So let me refresh the pages and let me go to resource group. I will have two different resource group first thing. So let me check first. How can I check that one? I went here. Now I can see 20. The maybe the second first one is not came still. It is in progress. Maybe it takes time. Yeah, it is came. Okay. As you refresh, you get to see here. Array, what happened? Okay. Hmm. Now, if you see here, the first resource group, let me just show you once. The first resource group I mentioned that has to create in the East2S, right? Let me check. Resource group 10 has to be created in this, that is your West US, East2S, I mean. This is group 10, it is your research question, like I mentioned, I have selected depth test, East2S, is location, okay? And my RG20 that got created in the West US. Let me check. 20 has got created in this particular. So you're good now. Okay. So, okay, now you're good. So that's how it is. So what we can, let me also explain one more thing, Tim. So as we already learn about the Proflow, let me give one more kind of, small notes on this. So whenever we run the Terraform plan, I mean Terraform apply, right? Basically the infrastructure Based on your Terraform configuration, the infrastructure will be provisioned in your cloud. In our case, Azure cloud, right? So as soon as the infrastructure is being deployed successfully, let's say in our case, it is a apply complete, the two resources been added, zero change and zero destroy. That means your resource has been successfully provisioned in your cloud infrastructure. Okay, in our case, Azure cloud. Okay, right. That is why you can see two different now. Think these are resources now. These are resources, right? Anything you deploy in your cloud, that is your resource, right? So this is I have two resources now. Now, as soon as I run successfully, and that is when you can see here also in Azure portal. So what you need to understand is here, as soon as you create the Terraform apply, and once it has been successfully deployed, in the backend, what it happens basically, let me tell you. If you remember last time, here, let me show you here. If you remember last time, we got these two, right? Terraform dot, sorry, dot Terraform, that is a provider plugins, and then you get a logs, dependency log file, right? These two was created at the time of initializations, right? This is how these two basically, that is your Terraform dot Terraform, that is your providers plugins along with your Terraform dependency log file will be created at the time of initialization. That is your Terraform initializations or initiate Terraform init. When you run Terraform init, that time it will be created. But if you just notice here, another terraform.tf state got created. This got created only when the Terraform has been successfully provisioned or deployed. In our case, uh, right now we have two resources got created, right, using Terraform. When I use the Terraform apply, these commands I used, right, these commands. So when I apply that, means Terraform, the infrastructure is being deployed now. So as soon as the Terraform successfully been deployed, you got a message, this one. Once you get this message, basically, once everything successfully provisioned, what in the backend, the Terraform dot tf state will be created. That is by default. So what it contains, basically, Terraform dot tf state is nothing but it is your kind of metadata of your resources in your cloud. Basically, what is not in cloud, basically in your whatever you have based on infrastructure, what you provision. Let's say in our case, in our cloud, we have deployed two resource group, right? So let's see, I can show you here also. If I open here, see, you can see the resource group 10 and resource group 20, right? So you will get these two information, you get it. What is the resource group details, everything, which was provision they're using, what is the resource group full part, everything ID. So basically, if you see same thing for second also, right? I mean, this one resource group now. This will be in JSON format always. So yeah, so basically, when in simple sum, these logs, the state file basically contains your metadata of your resources. In our case, resource group, right? Because it has been successfully deployed. Now, as soon as I destroy, basically, let me destroy. If I destroy, what happened now? Destroy, I can use same thing auto approve. What I do, I can just put destroy also. Sorry, dash destroy also. If you want, you can remove this apply command also. But if you don't want, if you don't remove the apply command also, still it works fine. Okay, destroy. Just mention dash done destroy. What happens now? As soon as you destroy the, basically, let me close this also. Okay. As soon as you click, sorry, as soon as you destroy the server, it's not anything. I mean, any resources you destroy in your Terraform. Okay, what happens? You get to see this is message you get automatically. This will get what kind of message this was going to be deleted, right? But also at the same time, what we need to understand is that in the backend, as soon as it's done, one more, this particular, if you just notice the terraform.tf state, right? They will, before destroying, they will initialize, when they initialize the kind of, the destroy of your infrastructure. Before that, the terraform.tf state will be backup. Okay, it will be backed up first. using with extension of dot backup. Let's say so in it will be like terraform dot tfstate dot backup. Okay, that extension you will get. Okay, then once it is been successfully basically deleted. Okay, the meaning whatever you have the information or the metadata in your state file, they will take the backup of that one with the extension of dot backup. Once it has been backup, what it'll do once the infrastructure has been successfully, now it is being destroyed, right? One it is been successfully destroyed, you get a message. Once successfully destroyed, what you do, then that state file will be updated back. That means, as we all know, there is no any infrastructure in your cloud anymore. So what will do? It will be zero now. Once backup has been done. Let's see. See, you notice here, backup dot backup tf dot stub. If you just notice here, see, this is done now, right? If you see here, because I have destroyed this, it is destroyed. So what I do now? See, if you just refresh this one also, you can check already. But let me refresh and show you once. As soon as I refreshed it, if you see here, the terraform.tf state also is there. This is the 1 KB size, if you can just notice. Second one also with the same name, but extension of with dot backup, right? So if you just go with the first one, you will get nothing because they have the resource been deleted in your cloud. See, null, right? You don't have anything that is in your Terraform. So, but if you check this one, whatever the tf dot Terraform dot tf state the backup was, I mean, the initialize when we run the Terraform apply, right? Whatever you have the basically the tf dot state from here, whatever you have the metadata got backed up here. If you let me show you, see here. Okay, let's say this is your resource group, this is on that is your resource group, everything. Okay, so that is how we have to understand. So, okay, so whenever you're under Terraform deploy, I mean basically destroy, first they will take the backup of your state file, and once it has been destroyed, they will update the state file. If it is in our case, once destroy mean it is nothing is there, and it will be null. And if you had to basically do some reward or anything, then you can refer this one dot backup file so that whatever changes happen or anything that can check that, and based on that you can react, you can act based on the situations. I hope this is clear, teams. Okay, let's not. I think we let me also try to give. Okay, this is clear now. I will go with the first. This is also clear. Okay, now this also we have already clear also. So here I wanted to have another basically two three concepts so that it will be easier. What we need to understand here another concept that is your Terraform resource introductions. Yeah. So this, if you see here, these are the very much key components in your Terraform which need to be understood. Yeah. Let's say for the first one is that is your Terraform language basic and Terraform resource syntax and Terraform behavior, Terraform state and Terraform meta argument, sorry, resource that is your meta argument using count, and resource meta argument depends on then forest in the life cycle. Okay, so I'll just give a small brief. We have already learned Terraform basic language that we have understood. What is the resource block? What is the resource level? Everything. What is the basic reference name that we understood. Same thing we understood syntax also how Terraform syntax works. Then we also understood some like about Terraform behavior, resource behavior. Let's say in our case multiple providers, right? Let's say to change the behavior of your Terraform basically, right? And then Terraform state file also we understood. Okay, this state file can be secure somewhere in centralized location, especially when you work with your team also. And we also will have to understand about Terraform resource meta argument. I mean, using a meta argument using a count. Let's say if you had to create a 10 virtual machine or 100 virtual machine at the same time using one configuration, right? We can use a count, and we can also use the meta arguments that is depends on. I mean, depends on. Let's say whenever you create any resources, right? You will have a multiple dependency. Let's say first it has to create some virtual machines, then subnet, then NIC, like that. So we will have some sequence where basically it will be depends on one another, right? So in this case, we have to use this meta argument that is your depends on, that we will learn as we go, or maybe slowly, yeah. And for each also will help you to create multiple resources with one configuration file. And we will also have the life cycle, that is your meta argument life cycle. So what is life cycle also is very important. Let's say let me show if I can show something. um, Terraform life cycle, right? Life cycle is nothing but these three things we need to keep in mind. uh, the first one is your uh, create before destroy. Okay, let's say in our case you do some modification and all, right? Then what will happen is that let's say you wanted to basically create some resources. What happened by default? It will be volume. Okay, by default, what will happen? It will first destroy the server and it will create new one. But in your case, for some critical database or server that you don't want that to be happen, right? You basically want to change the behavior of your Terraform. So in your case, what you can do is you can give a create before destroy. That means before destroying your infrastructure, the new infrastructure what you plan for has to get created first, and then only the resource will be created. I mean, this destroyed. Okay. You can go with this document also. You just search with this name only. Okay. Then second one, I can read the meaning also here. Okay. This create before destroy meta argument changes the behavior so that the new replacement object is created first. Okay, that will be created first, then and and the prior object is destroyed after the replacement is created. Okay, so meaning if you have a requirement where you want the resource, uh, particular resource to be created first and then destroy, so you can use these comments. So this one, this argument. Okay. Then second one is something is also very helpful. Prevent destroy. Okay, meaning this meta argument set to, when set to true, meaning if you set as true, will cause Terraform to reject with an error any plan that would destroy the infrastructure object associated with the resources as long as the argument remains present in the configurations. Let's say you want a certain, let's say, storage account or virtual machines where for some reason you don't want that to be destroyed manually or created basically destroyed by anybody, means what you can do is you can set this one. Okay, prevent destroy. So if you prevent destroy, and let me maybe open next step. I think here only. Okay, okay, so that is your prevent destroy. And then we have ignore changes. So ignore changes also is very good. I like this the fact that but the default by default Terraform detects any difference in the current settings of a real infrastructure object and plans to update the remote object to match the configurations. Ignore changes. Let's say, oh, I think okay. Let's say now I created this resource group, right? If I created this resource group, let's say, uh, okay, I have destroyed this one. Let me show, let's say this one. Let me give an example. If I give some tag, right? Let's say manually I'm doing something, right? So manually, if I give some tag, any tag, if I add any tag for now, what happened now? When you run in the next phase, when you run the Terraform apply, what will happen? Whatever you are doing manually, right? This will be destroyed. In the sense, this will be removed everything. So let's say not just this one. Let's say you have a virtual machines where you created and you want to and then you did some modification. Let's say your data disk or storage account or could be your monitoring connectivity or anything means A to Z. Let's say in simple example, you can say tag. Okay, you have if you have added tag that is out of Terraform. Let's say manually you have done it now, and when you run the Terraform plan, sorry, apply for the another in the next time, what happens? Whatever you are doing manually, you have done manually, everything will be moved out or everything will be deleted or destroyed. Okay, so this is again depends on the situations and project requirement. So in your case, let's say you have a team where they work sometime they after provisioning of your infrastructure, some let's say you have a team where they do manually tasks and all. So but you don't want you want them to do. So in your case, what you can do, you can use these commands. That is your ignore changes. Ignore changes mean, let's say now if you have created something, let's say you have added tag everything. After next the Terraform apply, if you do also whatever you have here manually, whatever been added will remain same. Okay, nothing will be destroyed. It remains same. So this is when that's how we need to deal with the Terraform. What do you call that? Life cycle. So there are three major life cycle. The first one is very important. That is your create before destroy. If you want to, like I mentioned, I don't have to discuss again. Okay. First one is a create before destroy, and then prevent destroy, and the ignore changes. Okay. I hope this is clear, team. Okay. Let's not. Anyway, we will do hands-on. Then we will understand more into that. And we will syntax also. Okay, I will just give a small brief. I will not go much in details for now. So, as we have already discussed in our last session, I mean in our previous session also about this one, but I'll just give a small, brief. So, Terraform language basic. When I say the configuration syntax, right? If you just notice team here, the template basically. This is when I say whenever you're writing any resources, first thing be i- any resources if you want to create. Okay, just keep in mind only whenever you want to create or provision any resources that time we use this block, that is your block type. This is your resource block type. Okay, and this one is also known as your the block level. This all is a block level. You can have a multiple block level here, but in your variable you can have only one block level, but in the resource you can have a two one or two variable, sorry, a block level. Okay, and this is all this call as, let's say you have under the resource block basically. Okay, resource block you will have multiple, let's say you have a name, then you have a location, everything, no? Okay, and if you see here, this is a top level and a block inside block. Block inside block mean you can top level mean resource or provider. This is your top level. Let's say block inside block means the provisioners, resource specified block like tags. Means under this thing also you sometimes we define a tags also or some provisioners means additional apart from the resources what you create, you're going to have some other additional where you want to use. In this case, that will be considered as your block inside block. Let's say provisioners, meaning uh, when you create the BMs, after creation of your BM, you want to, install certain basically tools, or maybe you want to run some script or anything with the help of provisioners. So in this case, the provisioners also that is your inside block. Okay, and this was like a tag also, and this is already an argument we call it. And we have like based on the block type, block level will be one or two. So like I mentioned, it can have a one or two. Example, resource. resource, right? The two levels. Variables will have one level. Variable, just to remember, cannot have two variable, two level. It will only one levels. So, and we will also understand about what you call that one. What is the resource group? Right? When we resource group, this is also, if you just see here, sorry. Huh. So what we can call is we can also argument name or identifier, meaning anything you see inside your block, right? Inside your block type, this is your the name type of the block. Sorry, resource type of the resources. In our case, resource group. Okay, and this is your reference name. Also, we can call it sometimes. And under here, that means if I want to create a resource group, see, just let me show. Whenever I create resource group, I can see resource group name, then locations, everything. Eh? This is the name. And this one, that is your on the left side, what you see is your known as your argument name or the identifier, meaning this one. Name also one of your identifier also you can call it, or argument name also you can call. Okay. And location also, that is your another identifier or argument name. Same thing. Um, this one is the key and value, right? This is key on the left side it is key, on the right side it is value, right? So if you see anything here, this is the argument. So that we can call it as the argument value. That means on the on the left side, if you see here on the left side, it is your argument name or identifier, you can call it, or anything you see on the right side, that is your argument value or expression. So normally we can call it as uh, identifier and the expression. Expression is nothing but your value. Okay. So then, okay. So resource syntax, like we have already discussed, but let me also give one more time. Resource type basically determines the kind of infrastructure object it manages and what arguments and other attributes the resource supports, right? So in simple term, when I say the resource type, basically this is your the if you see here, this is your resource type. Means this is a resource. This, how did you get this? Basically, this is basically a uh, block type, right? This is basically a block type. We call it as a block type. Then, and the block type will have a what is the resource, meaning what kind of resource type are you going to create. Let's say in our case it is a resource group type, and this is basically we can call it as a resource local name, or in another we can also call as a reference name. Okay, why we use this one? First thing, this one we understood. This mean, as we know, this is a block type, right? This is a block type, and this is the basically resource type. So if you see, this is a local name also you can call it, or reference name also you can call it. Okay, and like I mentioned, this already we have discussed. And second point is a local name. It is used to refer to the resource from elsewhere in the same Terraform module, but has no significance outside of Terraform module scope. The resource type and the name together serve as an identifier for a resource, sorry, for a given resource, and so must be unique within a module. Meaning, if you have this name, this is just like your kind of what you call, um, it's just like your variable. Meaning, it's just like a variable where you define something here and you give some value. So instead of calling the value, basically, so let's say in our case, let me understand here. Let's, if you can see, this is a local name, okay? But if you see here, name is equal to the given as a my RG2, okay? So if I call this name can be anything, okay? And same thing, location or anything. In our case, I'm talking about the resource group name. So if whatever you see here, this is a resource type, right? My RG, if you see here, is your reference name. So if you call with this reference name, whatever name you have here, that is your my RG2 or maybe any name will be called out. Okay. So this will help you. Let's say if you had to same name if you had to call, let's say 100 times or 10 times, this is not good. No, what you do here, you can just call by this name so that wherever with this name, wherever you have map as a in your this thing Terraform, this should be called out with to this name itself. If you call with this name, whatever name you're given in your this thing also Terraform will be called out. Okay, so that be clear. Then we have a meta argument that we have discussed also. Can be used with any resource to change the behavior of resources. Meanings, whenever I say the meta arguments, uh, meta argument meaning there are so many things. In simple term, basically, meta argument is nothing but basically Terraform has their own behavior, right? Whenever you deal with any kind of resources, or if you want to, let's say, create any kind of or to implement something in your cloud or any infrastructure, right? Anything, anywhere. So Terraform always has their own behavior. So based on the requirement, maybe your requirement change, right? Or some. So in these situations, so you don't want something that is depends on, I mean, that is, you know, what do you call that? That is not something, what do you call? Terraform, let's say Terraform is managing, let just give an example. How I can explain is that meta argument means, let's say, Terraform has their own way of managing their own behavior, right? Basically, you want to change the behavior of the Terraform itself. So in our case, what we can see here is provider. I have already explained that time. That is your provider I mentioned. If you also see here another argument that is a count. As I have mentioned, count also is a meta argument, right? Count basically, I want to create along with this one, right? I want to create two different resource group instead of one. That will be one, right? In this case, with the that means by default it will create only one. Now, if I have to create 100 resource group, how will I do? So I can just use the using count meta argument. Count basically just mention the name of the, I mean, number of count. Let's say in our case two. That means two resource group will be created. Okay, this is the meta argument. So that means you are changing the behavior of your Terraform by defining the meta argument. In our case, two, number as two. Okay, and the resource argument will be specified to resource type, and argument values can make use of expression or the Terraform dynamic language features that we have discussed. Okay, so like if you see here, this is your, okay, this is the resource argument. You have a like say identifier and expressions like that. No, that is your resource argument.